If the oxygenated blood were to travel to the leg and back in a turtle, it could begin in the sinus venosus, the thin-walled chamber that receives the oxygenated blood from the body, which sends blood to the right atrium, to the single ventricle, which because of a partial septum can partially separate the deoxygenated from the oxygenated blood, as it is sent into the pulmonary trunk or common pulmonary artery, to the left and right pulmonary arteries, to the pulmonary capillaries in the lungs where gas exchange occurs. Oxygenated blood returns through pulmonary veins to the left atrium, to the single ventricle, to the two aortic arches. These aortic arches are remnants of the aortic arches which form in fetal development, and they then travel around the heart and then fuse to form the dorsal aorta, which then proceeds along the midline of the back near the spine. In the hip region, these split to form the common iliac arteries, the external iliac arteries which proceed to the leg, and then the femoral arteries or sciatic arteries. There are a number of arteries in the leg which will deliver blood to the leg capillaries. Here gas exchange occurs before blood returns through the femoral vein to the iliac vein. Now there are alternate routes back from the leg. Much of the blood can go through a renal portal vein to the kidneys. The kidneys are then drained by renal veins, which empty into the post cava or inferior vena cava, emptying into the sinus venosus. There are also other routes back from the lower portions of the body, including transverse abdominal veins. As blood flows from the heart to the lungs and back, it begins in the sinus venosus, entering the right atrium, the single ventricle, the pulmonary trunk or common pulmonary artery to the left and right pulmonary arteries, to the lungs where gas is exchanged in the pulmonary capillaries, before returning through the pulmonary veins to the left atrium, the single ventricle, and here you can see one of the two aortic arches, which will then circle around the heart and then fuse to make the dorsal aorta, which proceeds inferiorly along the midline.